Blood Bowl 3 Season 3 has released, and in this season we got a whole entire new faction. We have the Shambling Undead. I'm Controlled Chaos, and in this video I'm going to be going over the Shambling Undead and how to best play them and what they're all about. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, let's go ahead and go over to teams, and I want to show you the different members that are in the Shambling Undead. So first off, I want to talk about the blockers that they have, the blitzers that they have, and they're the Wraith blitzers. And as you can see here, they are skeletons with a lot of spikes, and the helm has wings on them along with the knee pads. But let's take a look at their stats. You have a movement of 6, a strength of 3, an agility of 3+, a passing of 5+, and an armor of 9+. So they can take a good hit. They can pass, but they're not really good at it. Their agility is even, and their movement is decent with a movement of 6. And that's really good. Now, we look at the skills here. Your primaries are general, strength, and then your secondaries are agility and pass. So with that being said, they're really good, and I like them a lot because what they start with is block, and then they also have regeneration. So as you normally know with block, when you get the bolt down, you don't go down on the bolt down, so you can use a bolt down to take down the enemy. Regeneration is really nice because when you roll the casualties on a 1 through 3, it's regular casualty applies. On a 4 or plus, casualty is cancelled and the player is placed in the reserved box. And that's really nice because this trait still applies when prone, stunned, or has lost their tackle zone. And that's really good. Let's talk about the next one. The next one I want to talk about is the mummy. And the mummy, as you can see here, has this really nice mummy look to it, very beefy, very strong. And its movement is of 3. So it moves short distances. So you need to really plan ahead with the mummy on where you're going to go, because it's going to take some time to get there if the opponent is far away. You have to sort of think ahead of where that opponent might move your target that they're attacking if they're not next to anyone. So you want to use them as sort of a lockdown unit. Next, strength of 5. They are really strong. Then you have agility. Their agility is not the best. It's an agility of 5+. They do not have a pass game whatsoever, but look at that armor value. It is 10+. They can really take a beating. Now, if we look at the skills you can get, your primaries are strength, your secondaries are general and agility. You cannot access passing at all. But if you look at the abilities that they start with, you get a mighty blow with a +1 and regeneration. So as we all know, mighty blow, when knocking down following a block by this player, you can change the armor value or injury test by the amount between the brackets. This modifier applies after the test. This skill is not usable with stab or chainsaws, but we don't have to worry about that. Plus, they also get regeneration, which is really good. Now, let's talk about the next one. We have skeleton linemen, and some people don't like using skeleton linemen, others do. I say it depends on what direction you're going with your team. So what they have is they have a movement of 5, a strength of 3, an agility of 4+, so it's better than the mummy, but not by much. Then we have a pass of 6+. They can pass, but they're really terrible at it. Then we have an armor value of 8+. So they have an average armor value, a more chance of getting hurt. And that's okay. Let's look at their skill capabilities. Their primaries in general, their secondaries are in strength and agility, no passing capability. They do have regeneration, which we've already talked about, and they have thick skulls. So on injury tests against this player, on an 8 or 7 with stunty, they get stunned. On a 9 or 8 if stunty, they get knocked out. All the rolls are unchanged. And so they're really good for sort of moving up a bit more. But then we have the ghoul runners, and the ghoul runners have a movement of 7. They can really move a distance. They have a strength of 3, an agility of 3+, a pass of 4+, so they're going to be the best for throwing the ball if you decide to go that direction and work that way. But you're going to have to spend some points to really make one of these guys a passer. Then they have an armor value of 8+, just like the skeletons. Their primaries are general and agility, with their secondaries being in strength and passing. So they do get that passing capability, and they start off with dodge. Now we're going to go into the last unit, which is the zombies. These zombies have a movement of 4, so not as bad as the mummies, but they are the second slowest on the team. They have a strength of 3 and an agility of 4+, no passing capability, but they get an armor value of 9. Their skills, general is their primary, strength secondary, agility secondary, once again, no passing capabilities, but they have regeneration also. So what's really good about this build up, if we look into these teams, and let's say you want to create a new team and you're doing the Shambling Undead, so I'm just going to name them Team 3, and we will do a manual. I want to show you guys something here. When creating this team, they do not get apothecaries, and that's okay. The reason that's okay is because you have a lot of resurrection and regeneration type of thing. Your characters are really hard to kill off, and that's really good. That's the reason why they don't need them. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the team setups we have. The first team setup I have here, I took 2 mummies right away. So we have these 2 mummies here, and then we have 4 gutter runner or ghoul runners. Almost thought Skaven, sorry about that. Then we have 2 wraith blitzers, and then 3 skeleton linemen. This is for when you want to move a lot. You want to move a distance. This setup is good when you have a lot of those agility players like the elves, the dark elves, and the Skavens. This setup is good to help and sort of stop them. And the reason being is because your 4 gutter run or your 4 ghoul runners, I keep on saying gutter runners, my bad, and your skeleton linemen have a little bit more movement than the zombies, plus the thick skull, which means it's even harder to take them out. And this works out well. When you are building up this team and skilling up this team, what I recommend is you, on the mummies, what you want to take is, the first one you want to take is block. And the reason I say take block first is if you don't take block first, when you take it as a second thing, it's going to cost you 14 points instead of 12 points. Now, after that, work on taking guard with them. And the reason I mentioned guard for the secondary is it will only cost 8 points instead of 6 points. Another good thing to take with them is stand firm, and then you can do other great things with them in the strength. You can, and other areas, such as you can do shadowing with them, would be really good. You could also do a Juggernaut on them, would be really strong, or a Pile Driver. Since they don't move that far anyways, I think Pile Driver would be a good move if you want to do I want to damage the enemy. And the reason I say that is because at strength 5 there, you have a better chance of damaging the enemy, and then with Pile Driver you're able to do that second damage against the enemy that ends the action and places the mummy prone, so you'll have to pick him up next time. But you don't have to worry about that much because they don't have anything like stupid to get things going. If you really wanted to, you could add other things onto them, like defensive or maybe a dodge, so that they're a lot harder to knock down, but that's spending a lot of points. I would rather put into Juggernaut and Pile Driver and Guard, with spending your first points in block. Now, the next one we're going to look at is we're going to look at the gutter runners for this. The gutter runners on this, the first points I recommend on this would be block for a couple of them would be really good. Next, the other thing I would do is for the other two, I would get sure hands so that they can pick up the ball and they can utilize the ball. That'd be really good. Then after that, I would recommend one of them have kick. They would be really good with kick. So after that, it's really up to you. I'd probably put like guard on them also to help out and go from there. In the agility area, maybe diving tackle would be good. Sidestep, things like that sort of help. Maybe even because you want to sprint them further, do sure-footed would be a great one there too. So after that, we're going to look at the Wraith Blitzers. So the Wraith Blitzers, the first thing I would get on them would be guard. You want to get guard. Once you have guard, if you really want to do a hard-hitting team with this, give them frenzy. Both of them frenzy and mighty blow. That's the direction I would go with these guys. And then if you're leveling up after that, Pile Driver and Juggernaut would be really good. Just a beating up machine. These guys would just rip things apart. If you spend on a secondary, get dodge. That way they're super hard to take down. Now, the last one I want to talk about is the skeleton lineman. So, with these guys, you want to put in the blocks, which could help out. But if you're wanting to do this as a push team one, spend some points in your movement allowment. Jump these guys up to 6, maybe even 7 to get that up. And that would work out really well to allow them to move. So that's the direction I would go with this team. Now, let's say you want to be more offensive and not moving around the field as quickly. Let's say you're needing to play against a team that's like the Chosen Chaos or Dwarves. What I would recommend is you get 2 mummies, 2 Wraith Blitzers, do 2 Ghoul Runners, then do 5 Zombie Linemen. And the reason you're doing Zombie Linemen is because of that armor value of 9. That's where the difference is between them. They move less, but they get more armor. So with that being said, it's going to be harder to take them out and do harm to them. But if they do get harmed, they have the regeneration. So with these guys, since you're doing a lot of blocking, I recommend, once again, with the mummies, get block first, then get guard, and then with these guys, I would also go with the frenzy, and then I would go with the pile driver and juggernaut type field. Okay, the next one I want to talk about that will help out is, let's talk about the wraith. So do the wraith the same way. You want to do guard, then I would do a frenzy, and I would do mighty blow, and go from there. You know, along with stand firms would really help out. Same with the mummies, you want to put a stand firm on them too. Your gutter runners, you want to go block, then you want to go from there to something along the lines of, let's see here, tackle is a good one, because with tackle it prevents them from moving away. And also with the first team, get your ghouls to definitely have tackle, because it prevents them from using the dodge skill. And those elves, dark elves, and skavens are all very dodgy. If you're up against a very dodgy long running team, you want the tackle. For the non-dodgies, don't worry about the tackle so much. So this one, don't worry about the tackle. Then you want to work on getting other things that will help out on these ghouls. I would recommend Dirty Player and Sneaky Git. And this will allow you to do a lot of fouling without getting caught. And so after that, you're getting into the zombies. And with the zombies, first thing you want, definitely block. Then I would look at getting guard, because you want to have guard and block. And if you want to make them really hard to knock down, I would go with a dodge, or you can make them a really strong attacker, put frenzy on them, put mighty blow on them, maybe even stand firm, you know, whatever you want to do. If you just want them to block, don't worry about the mighty blow, but do like stand firm. And the multi-block would be good, but if you're wanting them to hit hard, you're wanting a hard hitting team, put the points into that. And maybe you could even go a step further with like your mummies and your other ones. You could put some into strength if you're going to go the direction of attack. Now, when we are talking about formations, so let's say we go into formations here. For the one dealing with the, you know, the fast running teams and quick moving teams, what I recommend, let's go to team one. What I recommend formation wise, so you got your guys here, and what I recommend is that your zombies are slow. So your zombies should be up here. Oh, I misclicked there. So you want this zombie here, this zombie here, and I would put the skeleton lineman in between them. And what I would do is I would take the, let's put the wraith there, this wraith there, and then your skeleton lineman is in the middle. And after that, you want to take your gutter runners and you want to have them secured back here like so. And let's see, that was Okay, that's a lineman. So you want to go here. You want to move him. I move him here. Here. Now I move him to here. Him to here. And the reason being is they are going to try to come either. It's going to make it really, really tough. They're not going to want to come through here. They're going to want to run around here. And with you having your ghoul runners right here, it's really going to make it hard for those fast runners to get by. And you'll be able to do quick pushes with the ghouls that way. And with having these guys right here, you're locking up and able to take out the group of 3 that are right here. You could also take your skeleton lineman and put him like right here, that he can access along this way and go either direction to help out or go up the center, because you're still doing a good lockup. But I recommend keeping him right there. Now let's say you're going with against a heavy blocking team. And so you're going with the mummies and stuff like that. So with a heavy blocking team, what I recommend is that you go with your blockers being up here. Let's take him, move him there. We're going to take him, move him there. We have the zombie lineman there. Zombie lineman there, zombie lineman there. We don't want that. So with your blockers, because your mummies have good offense, what I recommend is you take, okay, so that's your mummy. A mummy there. Mummy there. And then let's take your blitzer 3 here. Want to put him here. Blitzer 3 here. Then he is here. And we want your other blitzer here, and we're going to put him back one, him, go here, take him, go here, take him, put him there. And this way, when you're doing the attack on the blockers, you're all set up. Where is the ghoul runner? So you notice the ghoul runners you actually want surrounding these guys. So what we actually want to do is we want to change this up. We want to take this ghoul runner and switch him out with this. And then we want to take the, oh no, that's just swapping zombies, never mind. So we want to take this ghoul runner, swap him out with him, take this ghoul runner, swap out with him. So with this formation, you have your zombies here, and your ghoul runners, which are the most fragile, are protected here, because they're gonna have to push through and get through this. No matter what direction they go, you are covered in this area with your guys that are able to take more damage. Remember that, because if you look at these numbers here, everything's at 9 and 10 except for your ghoul runners, and this protects up your ghoul runners in a good way. The blockers are not going to have the speed to be able to get through here. They're not going to have the dodginess to get through this that easily. They're going to get stopped multiple times, and that's good. So now that you have that all set up, Now let's move into talking about what you should choose for your in documents. And this one, I would go with the Bloodweiser kegs, because this adds ones to recovery roll test. That's good if you have 50,000. If you have more than 50,000, let's say you're saying 100,000, if you are going with fouling, go with bribes. If you're going to be doing a lot of the sneaky get stuff like that, bribes are good. Otherwise, go with extra team rolls. And the reason being is your team rolls are very expensive for the Shambling Undead. If you have more to spend, you can go with a biased ref. If you think your opponent is going to go with a lot of fouling you, this will help out in kicking off the team members. If you have 150, go with a wizard. Now let's talk about star players. There's one really good star player here, and that's Ivan the Animated, and he's got some really good strong capabilities and a bunch of them. He is well worth the 190. He's got a movement of 6, a strength of 4, an agility of 4, a pass of 5, and an armor value of 9. So that works out in what you should be doing and choosing. With that being said, there's a lot of choices that I like in being able to play the undead. And with that, they can be played as runners ball. You're not going to be playing the passing game with them though. You really have to spend a lot of points to be able to make a passing game with them. But if you do that, you'll probably surprise the hell out of your opponent when they see a zombie throw the ball and another zombie catch the ball. So if you want to go that direction and surprise your opponent and do something totally left field, be creative with your builds. Think outside the box. You don't have to follow the guide I'm representing with you here on how to make your formations or what to choose with the teams and how to formate them out. But just like you don't have to listen to any other guide video out there for Blood Bowl. Do what feels right for you. Go with the play style that fits for you. If you are about surprising your opponent with thinking outside the box, then do that. That will work for you. If you've enjoyed this guide, please hit that like button and subscribe and have a great day.